Great. Hearty welcome, everyone. I'm P. Shravan Kumar, founder of SK Associates and Group, and your host for today's conference 1.4 on student-driven innovation, entrepreneurship development.
And I'm Aditi Jain, the Chief Strategic Alliance Advisor of SK Associates and Group, and I'm Shravan's co-host for Conference 1.4 on Student-Driven Innovation and Entrepreneurship Development.
SK Associates and Group is an internationally accredited ISO certified management consulting firm registered under MSMED Act 2006 of the Government of India. We provide consulting services in the domains of compliance, operations, marketing, research and development, human capital, strategy and operations to budding student entrepreneurs across the nation. SKANG was formed with the dream to provide consulting services to student entrepreneurs and help them in developing the national economy by establishing their dream firms across various industries.
We work with startups and train potential student entrepreneurs who are aiming to bring a significant change, either in their business model, in scale of operations, or both. To succeed in this endeavor, our clients need a specific type of consultant, someone who is a problem solver. Typically, such a person is entrepreneurial and passionate, thinks out of the box, has an idea where the problem lies, analyze it, and most importantly, what could serve as a perfect solution for it. Such people have lived and worked in different contexts and countries. They have worked on exciting projects, they have taken risks and have scars to show for it. We call such people transformational consultants. We have worked over the last 3 years to build a network of such people, reaching out to them across universities, across industries, and across the gamut of functional roles. Time and again, we have seen magic happen when we find the perfect solution for our clients. And this is what drives us and keeps us motivated each day. We are passionate and excited about the impact such individuals can have in building the next generation of iconic organizations in the corporate sector.
We aim to mentor 3 lakh students across India by 2026 by providing them with consulting services, strategy and operations, human capital, compliance, legal advisory, research and development, taxation, marketing, and help them in establishing their ventures, investing 20 crores US dollars in their startups over the span of the next 5 years. We also aim to provide 50,000 employment opportunities to various lecturers across the nation in the upcoming 5 years.
We strongly believe that strategic alliance and collaborations shall help us achieve our vision in working for the cause of global economic growth. Our executive management and alliance teams are always dedicated on working towards entrepreneurship development and community impact with a concentration on the point students are the upcoming future generations of our nation and need to be empowered for global economic growth. Visit our website to know more about us www.skangroup.com.
Truly, Siddharth, as we enter 2022, we are consistently seeing the increasing focus, enthusiasm among students towards entrepreneurship and startup ecosystem. This is a significant change towards the progressive community of professionals and entrepreneurs since a startup means an innovative business model which can impact the community and help resolve an existing. Thus, the more we encourage startups to bloom in our world, the more efforts we are making towards a better future free of the problems we face today. Entrepreneurs and global business leaders are the future of our world as they attempt to resolve issues where their innovative solutions commercialize the same solutions later at a feasible market. This helps in creating employment opportunities, facilitating sustainable economic growth rates, creating innovative products and services, attending to consumer needs appropriately, even creates business opportunities for relevant businesses.
Exactly, Shravan. Even throughout my career as a professional in the education management and edtech industry, I have seen multiple entrepreneurs change and impact the world via their innovation, ideation, and inspiration. However, a major part of a student's career development and growth depends on proper mentorship from relevant individuals, short scale experiences such as life projects and internship, and they might find it difficult to access, educate knowledge, and experience on the same. Thus, in answer to all such questions of budding students who wish to emerge as entrepreneurs by providing various products and services with high USPs, we have organized Conference 1.4 on student-driven innovation and entrepreneurship development. We hope our conference series helps such potential students create an impact in the community and resolve emerging problems via their innovative mindsets and business models. Now, we would like to introduce all our honorable guests for today.
Firstly, we would like to introduce Karmavir Jyoti, Professor Dr. R. Ganeshan, who has earned his doctorate from the reputed IIT Delhi with a special focus on entrepreneurship development. He possesses more than 2 decades of research experience in the field of entrepreneurship and management. He has served in different academia, ranging from deemed universities, engineering colleges, arts and science colleges, B schools, and international universities. He has more than 70 research contributions to his credit, which are published in referred and indexed journals, books, book chapters, monographs, and conferences. He is a global author in women entrepreneurship, whose research papers are listed in Google Scholar and are indexed in ISI, ASCI, and ESCI, MLA Citation, Scopus Index journals, EBSCO, Cabell's Directory, etc. He has authored 2 books on women entrepreneurship development and insurance management, which have been published at Germany in 24 edited books. He is serving currently as the editorial member and reviewer for numerous journals and possesses more than 20 years of editorial experience. He has edited more than 660 research articles and chapters to his credit, which includes his editorial experience across referred and indexed journals, conferences, and chapters at national and international levels. He has organized and hosted 3 national conferences, 5 international conferences, 4 international seminars, and has conducted over 45 faculty development programs, popularly known as FDPs. He has delivered more than 215 national and international sessions, including webinar sessions, focusing on research and development, research insights, research structuring, publication strategies, statistical insights, crafting literature review, and publication process, entrepreneurship development, managerial skills, career development, self-management, design thinking, employability skills, digital marketing, etc., and inaugurated many entrepreneurship development cells across the nation. He has also hosted 30 national award ceremonies for recognizing national and global talents. In commemorating his laudable academic research and societal transformational services to upbringing entrepreneurship development, he has been conferred with the prestigious title Karmavir Jyoti by Indian Confederation of Non-Governmental Organizations, New Delhi, India on 22nd March 2015. He is bestowed with the coveted Lifetime Achievement Award, Researcher and Scholar, Icon 2017, powered by Jupiter Publications Consortium in association with Igneous Cyberonics Private Limited, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India, on 22nd July 2017. He is the recipient of PFLA Excellence Award for his outstanding service to education and entrepreneurs community on People First Leadership Academy, PFLA Bangalore, Karnataka, 19 January 2009. He has been conferred with Order of Eminence, highest honor for his global contribution, research, teaching, and training in entrepreneurship development by the Presidium of NFED in his 10th National Teachers' Day Awards on 5th September 2019, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. He has been conferred with the prestigious MTC Global Distinguished Teacher Award in Entrepreneurship Development at the 9th World Education Summit, organized by Management Teachers Consortium Global on 7th September 2019 in Bangalore. As the founder, chairman, and presidium chair, the renowned National Foundation for Entrepreneurship Development, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. Also, he is the founder and chair of NFED Business Facilitators School, Strategic Action Unit, Center for Research and Training, a Growth Action Unit, and NFED Publications, respectively under the ambit of NFED. He is one of the directors in Julenma Solutions Private Limited, Bangalore, Karnataka, and founder and chief executive officer, Technovate Education and Consulting Services, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu.
We would like to introduce Dr. Sudarshanan Ganpati, who is a personal branding and LinkedIn growth expert. With over a decade of experience in social media marketing and personal branding, he currently runs The Social Company, a personal branding agency that is specialized in LinkedIn and in content marketing. He has worked with multiple founders, CEOs, leaders, decision makers of large-size companies and early-stage startups on personal branding, content strategy, digital transformation, social media marketing, and growth hacking.
We are also glad to have Dr. Kiran Kumar Thoti on our panel, who has pursued a PhD in Human Resource Management from University Malaysia Kelantan, a government university located in Kota Bharu, Malaysia. He did his MBA from Madurai Kamaraj University and a BE from Anna University, MIT. He has been teaching MBAs and BBs for 15 years and was an associate professor at KLS Business School, Yale University from September 2019 till March 2022. Since March 2022, he has worked as a senior lecturer and associate faculty at University Malaysia Kelantan in Malaysia. He has more than 18 certificates from IIT, LinkedIn, Google Academy, and NPTEL, and has conducted research, given presentations, and presided over national and international conferences. Dr. Kiran has spoken, served as a resource person, and chaired sessions at 80 national and international conferences and 13 FDPs. He has also written 87 articles for national and international journals and 4 textbooks. In Hyderabad, he worked as an industry consultant and trainer. For MBA and BBA students, he constantly advocates for the academic, research, and organizational.
We also have Professor Saptarshi Ghosh, who is an award-winning entrepreneur, professor of entrepreneurship strategy, business consultant and mentor, and an ex-corporate leader. He is an alumnus of the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, and Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. In his corporate career, he had worked in leadership roles in Fortune 500 companies in India and UAE. As an entrepreneur, his areas of interest are edtech, cleantech, and retail sectors. He is currently associated with IIM Kashipur and BIST as a mentor of entrepreneurship. He is also the professor of practice and CEO of the Incubation Lab at NSHM Knowledge Campus, a 25 years old higher educational institution in Kolkata and Durgapur region in India.
Now, we would like to request all the guests and attendees to kindly switch on your respective webcams during the conference. We would also like to inform all of you that the HRM, along with the scheme, is conducting calls in the chat box throughout the session. Kindly participate in them actively.
Now, we would like to invite KVG Professor Dr. R. Ganesan, founder and chairman of National Foundation for Entrepreneurship Development, to enlighten us with his insights as an entrepreneur.
Very good evening to all of you. Respected founder, Mr. Sharon Kumar. Am I audible to all of you? Yeah. Strategic Alliance team, Ms. Aditi Jain, and advocate Ms. P. Vanilla Naidu, and Banwanti, all those team members of your esteemed organization, and all the distinguished speakers of today's conference, day one, and student communities. A pleasant evening to all of you. Before starting, I just want to present my screen. You have to say me this is visible or not. Is my screen visible to all of you? Is it visible to all of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a first slide of mine. I just want to go to a briefing about the today's session, because I'm going to handle on the importance of entrepreneurship education. That is my topic, which I already informed the founder about that, and even he told me to give a briefing about that by today itself, before 15 minutes of my session, to be a first speaker on this particular conference. Well, to talk about entrepreneurship, I am an academician come entrepreneur, I can say like that, because I started my career as a NGO program coordinator after my PhD from IIT Delhi in the discipline of women entrepreneurship. And I started the NFED, this is National Foundation for Entrepreneurship Development, as a social enterprise, to make it happen. What are the practices which I feel that is a gap in the arena of entrepreneurship, particularly women entrepreneurship, which is incidentally study in the IIT Delhi. If we talk about the startup and startup innovation and all those things, if we talk about the student-driven innovation, entrepreneurship development as a theme of this conference, student-driven innovation. So if we talk about innovation by itself is having a lot of meaning. If we talk about any invention is the base, but innovation tends to infinity. Even one of my principles says that on an inventive plane, innovation tends to infinity, because there's no end to the innovation what we do. But why we are focusing on the student-driven innovation today? That is the core aspect today. Why we are dealing with that? Because we should know something about the population statistics of what about the country like India, which is having approximately, I can say, 1.35 billion, because last census says 1.27 or 28 approximately in 10 years before, in 2011. Maybe it's almost 1.37 to 1.4. We keep it as 1.35. Even if we say 1.35 billion people are in India, more than 50% people are all in the youth side. That is youth-driven population. If we talk about youth-driven population, we take the teens, and if we say up to 25 years, the population is around more than 70 crores, approximately 70 crores. 70 crores is a very big population if we talk about a young workforce. And that is why India has been land of attention by all the investors and the business communities across the globe to invest in India. That is one main thing. Other countries, maybe this figure, maybe you can say a flip of 5% to here and there, but approximately 70 crores people will be there in the 0 to 25 years. In that population, we take that student population. That is, you can take the teens and late teens and up to youth population, and up to 25 years. We say it at about 14 to 25 years, the population might be around 30% to 40% out of that 70 crores. That means approximately 30 crore people are all in the verge of to come into the domain of the vibrant youth community, you can say. That is where this entrepreneurship development takes momentum. But this alone will not be the statistics. We can say that's only population statistics. We all know that. But let me share another small screen to you. Maybe you may be knowing about this. The MSME statistics, as per the National Sample Survey, NSS, 73rd round conducted by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation during the period of 2015-2016. And they published only by, the annual report is published in 2021-2022. The source is given below, and you can also cross-check the pages numbers of 2027. It says 633.88 lakh enterprises as per the MSME. MSME, we all know, micro, small, medium enterprises annual report. That is approximated to the decimal 6.34 crores enterprises against a population of roughly 1.35 billion. That's what I mentioned. In that, you can say 0.7 billion. That is a youth population. If you take micro sector, that is 630.52 lakhs, that is 6.31 crores. Micro sector. You all know what is a micro sector. Out of which 608.41 lakhs MSMEs means 6.08 crores were proprietary concerns. Because the intent of the conference is going in the lines of this particular important thing which we have to know. And mostly, this out of this 6.08 or 6.1 crore, you can talk about, mostly they are coming under proprietary concerns. Say proprietary concern, which is sole proprietorship, even if you say a tune of 20%, or you can say 20% only is coming under the other sectors. If you take majority of the concern, 6.8 crores out of the 6.34 means it is almost 96%, you can say 95% and above are coming under sole proprietorship. Even if you say 20% of this 6.08 crores, that is almost 1.5 to 1.2 to 1.5 crores, if we say approximately, employs at least 2 to 3 people, then it becomes how much? That is almost 5 to 6 crores. Even with the maximum I'm giving, the brim is only 4.5 to 5 crores. So the population is huge. The employability is also a question mark, but youth population is driving like anything. It's a very voluminous population which we are owning in a country like India. And but the question is, how many people are turning into entrepreneurs? So the startup concept is going on, because startup concept as not having the big risk, but it's having a feasibilities to convince that the investors' point of view. We talk about any angel investor or venture capitalist, they have to judge on the project what you give. But the sole proprietorship, that is individual enterprises have the high risk of starting. And even the pandemic, you can see, I don't know the statistics of the pandemic, because they are publishing only in the 2021. It's not in 2022. If it is 2022, recently, if we talk about next coming financial year, up to March 2023, then we'll know the real statistics. Even the statistics is pending for the last 6 years. So the question comes on how this youth population can be driven into the line of innovation, or how to inculcate the innovation among us, the youths, so that they become an entrepreneur or a startup entrepreneur, whatever we call. That is the intent of this. I think that's the genre of this conference, to bring in these children or the youth population to come into this entrepreneurial arena. And there are, just giving a scenario of this, what's going on at present. That is, you all know EDCs, it's existing. IIPCs, that is Industry Institute Partnership Cells, do exist. Industry Institute Interface Cells, IIICs, is existing. Technology Bureau for Incubators, it's existing in the line of even IIMs, IITs, and all. They do have these TBIs. Even a lot of deemed universities are also having this sort of a mechanism. And Institutional Innovation Council, this is a recent thing which is Government of India has already initiated to all the academia to follow it, to have this sort of IACs, School Innovation Council. The question is, these are all the scenarios. You may be knowing about the scenario. But why this entrepreneurship development is not interesting the young population? That is the question. So somewhere I am talking about the pros and cons, whatever the thing has happened, how to rectify these things and to make this youth population to come into the, or you can say, gauging this entire youth population to come into this line of entrepreneurship to meet our future demands. Because population is increasing enormously. You are going to surpass China, I don't know, by 2030, maybe you will surpass the China's population also, we don't know. But keeping the present scenario into the picture, so the requirement is huge, and employability is also to be maintained. If we talk about employability to be maintained, means you have to generate entrepreneurs, because the job givers to be more, and there only the balance is maintained with the job seekers. Because I feel it as a professor of management also, I feel that the jobs, always I used to talk about employability skills across any platform, and these things always, there should be an entrepreneur, there should be the employment scenario should be balanced. That's what I feel. So keeping this in view, what is happening in academia? Academia is striding hard to push this entrepreneurship in the curriculums. But when you talk about the school level, that's what I feel, the young population is more vibrant in the school level than in the collegiate level. This is my observation of my research for a very long time in the field of entrepreneurship development. That is the schools, the primary level and the secondary level. Maybe primary level, we can only do the skill training of finding who are the potential individuals who can grow to the next level of showing interest on the innovation or becoming an entrepreneur. Maybe the schools can identify. Because when I was teaching in the B school, I can say it's in 2011, almost 2012, in the B school, I came across one of my students who was told that I was teaching entrepreneurship. Of course, I'm the area chair for entrepreneurship strategy. When one of my students told that it's in J. Podar group of institutions, we have this entrepreneurship as a curriculum in 8th standard. That was a very important information for me. And immediately I asked the book to be given to me. She has given the book. Of course, the curriculum is very good. But how many schools do this sort of a practice? That is one thing that is having the gap of why the entrepreneurship education is not taking a big boomerang in a country like India, where population is surpassing, and youth population, more precisely, youth population is surpassing more than 70 crores. That is the intent of this presentation. And the second one is industrial training institutes and polytechnics are also doing a lot of work, but they don't have this organized ED platform as the case with the colleges. The colleges do have the compliance. Of course, the UGC has already given a direction, the AICT has given the direction to have this ED cells installed or instituted under the colleges. But very few can say, if you talk about the colleges, 36,000 colleges are there, for example. And almost we can say 2 to 3% colleges are very vibrant. I'm excluding the high-tech institutions like IIMs and IITs and IICs and all. Because there's a different mechanism for them. They're getting the funding and sponsor, all those things will happen there. Even I am a part of the TBI when I was a student, when I was doing my PhD at IIT Delhi. So there, the funding pattern is different. They have a huge amount of seed money, and where they can support the TBIs, and their BTech projects will be taken into consideration for startup innovation, and funding is possible. But excluding those institutions, if we talk about generally, we talk about private academia or even free government academia, government universities and institutions. These EDCs are not properly attuned, I can say, where the role of the corporate like ASK association groups are all having the very big role to play there, to inculcate the also say garner the young minds towards the entrepreneurship education. Possibly it's possible, but the question is how much is possible is the time. The time, another 5 years to go the line, but you have to cross this gestation time and to make a lot of young people to young generation to come into this entrepreneurial arena. That is the important thing which you have to note down. But this is a scenario. I'm just giving the scenario of education, entrepreneurship education in academia. Talk about importance of entrepreneurship education in the general sense, how it will happen. Because if I talk about innovation, I always say a proverb of mine, that is fail to learn success. Because innovations will not be at an instance, it will be a positive line of thought, or you can say a positivity immediately. Because the innovation goes on with a lot of experiments. Even if you take a service sector, or even if you take a manufacturing sector, any technical sectors, innovation takes its own time because it has to be proven. Because there is a big people who are going to take this in a startup innovation and to make it as a business for you. So where the investors are all available means they should be convinced on what you are doing. We talk about in Chennai, I heard about the air taxi. Air taxi is upcoming, and the charge is 5 times the charges of the regular Uber or Ola cab or anything like that in different places, the local cabs. So that's not. But the question is, this is innovation, but it has to be sponsored because it has been carried out in IIT Delhi, IIT Madras. That sort of innovation. So I'm talking about these sort of innovations are not coming up with other institutions and academia because of the coping and growing competitive environment. The competitive environment is not enabled. It is quite disabled. That's what I feel. Any college, they are having the compliance, they are doing the work. Not that to create an entrepreneur, they are getting serious view towards this sort of entrepreneurship. Second one is who are all the people who are teaching entrepreneurship? That is again a big question. That is very rarely it happens. People teach entrepreneurship, they are not entrepreneurs. That is also there. People teach means they are not entrepreneurs. Means that doesn't mean that actually they should be enterprising. I can say enterprising faculties only can bring in the intuition of towards entrepreneurship amongst the young minds. Maybe it sounds theoretical, but when we go to the practical wisdom of this application of this knowledge of entrepreneurship in the classes, it is not happening the way, because there are many faculties who are not understanding the facets of entrepreneurship, and they're taking this entrepreneurship as a subject, following the compliance, following the regulations, following the curriculum. Of course, it is to be followed. We agree with that because of the time frame and the university guidance. But beyond what? Beyond the classroom, what they teach. That question is coming. That is understanding entrepreneurship facets is becoming very important for seeding the entrepreneurship among the same minds. Skill acquisition and developing adroitness, developing the skillfulness. That happens only, as I told you, in the primary level, or you can say, if it is not possible in the primary level, at least you can say the creativity can be seeded in the young minds at the high school level. So the skill acquisition is one thing, what they want to become. The choice-based education is not the case in a country like India, because we are still going on with the different modus operandi in terms of education, unlike the other Western countries, where if they have a skill, they will develop the skill for a long time, and they have attained the mastery in that, and they get the qualification or the certification or degree on the particular thing. But that is not the case in a country like India, where we have to do certain educational system, where we have to go and do the things. If you talk about Master of Science, we can do only physics. If we talk about chemistry, or likewise other subjects. But we cannot take something different. Very rarely the people who do a project in the masters, they come into a startup innovation activity. Very rarely. So that is again, the skill acquisition is not tuned at the young stage itself. So that is again a lack. Now we can talk about the importance of entrepreneurship education amongst the youth population or the students, and creating enterprising workforces. That is very, very important. That is what I told you. Enterprising faculty only can create an enterprising workforce. Not a normal faculty can teach. Enterprising faculty make the persons to act. They make the persons to do the work. In my case, I can handle the classes because than others effectively, because I am an entrepreneur. I'm a social entrepreneur. I'm a hardcore entrepreneur also at present. So and I have been into the research also, because a research faculty can obviously handle the classes in a different way, because they always keep on updating themselves, keeping the upfront research domain to the publication, all those things. They are constantly updating the different things, what's going across the world in terms of entrepreneurship, and how to take these things to the classes, because the students have no idea to go to the journal and to read what's going on. Only the faculties who are interested in the research domain can bring in these things trivially to the classes and to explain it in the case or any action or any or activity that becomes a positivity for getting into the student-driven entrepreneurship or innovation. And finally, the building an entrepreneur base, that is very important for the entrepreneur. That's why I told you that is you are to take this thing from the school level. It's not the college level. That we are making a mistake actually in taking the college level. The people will be mature so they can become an entrepreneur and all. That is only a what's say a thought process, but it's not in practical aspect. It is not going to work out. And when somebody's creativity is seated in the school level, that person can be very creative or very innovative, even they pursue the higher education in the college level. And thereby they develop that sort of intent to go towards something, to do something differently, and they become the innovative entrepreneur. I have seen the cases like that. And finally, fostering the student startup activities. So student startup activities are happening. It's not that I am not saying that it's not happening. It is happening in a very, very minuscule way. That is a very, very small way. It should happen in a very bigger way. That is expectation. When you say these things, again, I have to give a strategy, because I cannot only say as a speaker about the importance of entrepreneurship education and to go on as a researcher or a practitioner in entrepreneurship, but I have to give some possible strategies which can be adopted. Maybe some people have adopted already, but somehow I wanted to add. Maybe I feel that this can work out. It will upbring the student-driven innovation and fostering entrepreneurship development across our nation. So, inducting the faculties or teachers in academia to companies or industries for pragmatic learning. Very few universities do, in my opinion, because when I was when I was in BITS Pilani, and I know the practice schools are there. But how many deemed universities are having the practice schools? How many faculties are exposed towards these practice schools? It's a question. Again, it's a question mark. Very few universities are doing this, but the population is huge. There are a lot of people have to gauge into this picture, and they have to do the same thing, same practice, and to make the faculties having a positive exposure towards entrepreneurship or grooming the students. When you know the practicality, only when you can talk about something in the class. Of course, probably you all know practice makes a man perfect. So how much practices you are undergoing or are you having the exposure on the practices of entrepreneurship, that much your students will be vibrant in the and they'll be the future entrepreneurs of this nation. Selecting and recruiting enterprising faculties, teachers to appropriate criteria, or support from external agencies for future prospects in academia. Selecting and recruiting enterprising faculties. That is what I am saying. There is a yardstick we have to keep. The academicians who are here and the entrepreneurs who are here, they are all to see to this. At least when you recruit somebody in academia, at least the enterprising faculty should be there. But how to measure it? You can have some questions. You can have some invitees from the domain areas who are all entrepreneurs to be in the board to recruit these sort of faculties. It's not only always academicians are vibrant, where the practitioners are not vibrant. Practitioners are also taken as visiting professors in many of the academias as adjunct professors. They're all there, but they can be involved in the recruiting process also to a large extent, and so that the objective is fulfilled. And introducing a holistic activity-based learning curriculum for influencing students with entrepreneurship development in academia at school levels. That is not existing currently. Maybe some few schools, as I told you earlier about JA Podar group of institutions and all, they may be having, but in a large scale to happen. Somewhere all the policymakers or the academicians and the entrepreneurs together to bring in a curriculum like that for a nation building. I can say it's a nation building. It's not only individuals' task to bring entrepreneurship development. We are all only the instruments to talk about our entrepreneurship, but we are all a part and parcel of the process. But it should go in a very larger perspective or a larger way. It should happen. And instituting entrepreneurship units at school levels for enhancing the creativity and innovation skills. That is also important. Very few schools are now started to doing it. If we talk about some schools in Delhi, they're already talking about this creativity classes and all those things are going on. Likewise in Mumbai, some major metros, they are already the schools under these major metro cities. They are already into this process. But it should go to the rural levels also, because the rural creativity is also very, very important, where the innovation skills are all can be sharpened, and they can do also contribute more towards this entrepreneurship development. And enabling competitive environment to students at school levels towards engaging in interactions and discussion. This happens in the college level, not in the school level, which will create an entrepreneurial cult across the nation. and introducing or providing an exclusive scholarship incentive grant seed funding for motivating and fostering the potential students at schools, colleges, and universities into incubation under entrepreneurial activity. This is not happening in the private academia for a large extent, I can say. This is happening in the governmental universities, governmental academia. I fully agree. But in private academia, very few universities are into this sort of process. They do have ED cells, but they are not providing the seed money. They only conduct the courses or training programs, or calling people like us as an expert, or calling any young entrepreneurs to deliver the notes, but not providing the seed money funding for any aspiring individual or aspiring student within the framework to become an innovative entrepreneur. And imparting entrepreneurship and skill development programs or certifications along with the digital skills is very important, because in the pandemic we all realized, it includes us also, we all realized the sooner we realize, better we are. That is, digital skills are part and parcel of the process of what we are existing. Even today we can sit in some other place and they can be organizing this conference, and people are all from different places are all joining this conference. That is the digital skills to be there with the people who are all in this conference. And digital skills in academia is very, very important for professional collaboration, tie-ups with the established external agencies or corporate organizations for building a vibrant entrepreneurial base for future prospects. For instance, we can say about NFED itself, National Foundation for Entrepreneurship, which I founded in 2003, is conducting certification course on e-entrepreneurship and innovation creativity for business, especially for first-year VBA students since 2019. The third batch has also passed out. So something like that we are also planning to do. We are also having the curriculum base to do that. But the academia have to also engage our services and also to sharpen themselves in the digital skills to bring out that entrepreneurial quotient among us, the students. And finally, the frequently motivating and facilitating students in academia towards participation and attending in workshops or training and seminars that people are doing. Students are participating in different conferences. But related to entrepreneurship and innovation, something like that, I appreciate that they can also do that. And innovation only for grooming their understanding towards holistic learning. Making e-cell, incubation cell, industry institute partnership, or whatever the cells, whichever is recommended by the UGC or Government of India, than having its mere existence in academia for compliance colleges. It should be active and periodic, and in terms of collaborations and interactions with entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship development organizations, agencies, institutions across the nation and globe. That only can bring in the exposure to the students at a college level or university level. Then only they can have the spark. Something is happening, so why don't we try? So the first step of entrepreneurship is to take a risk, as I say, you all know. But the risk should be calculated. Otherwise, the failure will be more. So that is why I told initially in the beginning of the session, that is my speech, that is fail to learn success. When we talk about NFED, there are so many bit of failures I have faced in my walks of life for what I am now. But the question is, the sooner you learn, better you are. That is, you should be a quick learner, or that means what you should have a lot of voracious exposure towards this sort of entrepreneurial learning. That is very, very important. And finally, the national accreditation bodies have to include entrepreneurship and or startup activities as one of the evaluation criteria. They do they have, I think they have the criteria, but it is only the evaluation of EDC cells. But how many entrepreneurs are coming out of these EDCs? That is very, very important. They are conducting programs. We do have the funding. We are giving the funding through many schemes like Atal schemes. There are so many schemes we are having from the NIMSME or the NSDC or EDI. There are so many schemes they are supporting the college through the EDC activities under the colleges. But how many schemes are providing or creating an entrepreneurial output? Because input is given, that is, the funding support is given by governmental agencies to support this private academia or even government academia. But the evaluation criteria should include and strictly monitor the entrepreneurship progression across academia. That is very, very important, because we are not monitoring in terms of the output. We are monitoring in terms of the conduct of number of programs. So I think that the number of programs is not, it should be proportional to the number of entrepreneurs, or at least 20% output of the number of trainers, what the trainees, what they do to become an entrepreneur. That should be there. Suppose 100 people are trained, at least 10 people should become an entrepreneur output of the particular academia. That should be the case, which should be taken into consideration by the national accreditation bodies like NAC or NBA or any other agencies to think about it. So thank you so much for the time, and I think I'm completed on time. And thank you so much. Any questions? You can put it across.
I'll actually presentation, Dr. Ganeshan. I had one question here.
Yeah.
Overseeing your experience in entrepreneurship, you would be the best probable person to answer it on the panel, definitely.
I'm not the
How
best.
many-
I can be one among the person to answer the question because there are so many vibrant people are all sitting here. I will try to answer your question. Of course, you are an young entrepreneur. Okay.
Whenever a student takes the risk to begin a startup, as you just said, they must assess the risk. They must not be like completely unconscious risk they are taking. So, what is the average time scale for a startup to exactly scale up? Average.
2 to 3 years, I can say. 2 to 3 years is the time because by the first year you know the feasibilities of that particular thing because startup is not going to be it's funded by the venture capitalists or the angel investors because startup has no risk but it has having a risk of the people who are investing to that startup. So the gestation time will be 1 year the feasibility and the 2 year will be the gestation. So I always say 2 to 3 years because people always they start up because they have some funding pattern, funding support behind. They start quickly and they end quickly. That is the problem, you know. The startup has one risk: they start quickly and they end quickly also. So that should not be the case, you know. The entrepreneur, if you talk about entrepreneurs should sustain. Despite of the pandemic, how many entrepreneurs are existing? To take a survey, because the government of India is not giving the statistics to us. In the pandemic, how many people, how many startups have closed? How many micro enterprises have been closed? There's a big number. We are only I only shared the statistics of 2016. That is published in 2021 with the MSMED report, not the recent one. That is upcoming financial year 2022-2023 will be the exact thing. Even if we say 2016 to 2021 will be the exact time of saying that how many startups are really closed. More startups have been closed. More sole proprietors have been closed. More micro sector has totally been affected. So question is that the problem is not that only the pandemic. The problem is also with the intent of the person who is wanting to do the startup activity. Because what happens with the youngsters is youngsters have no fear. That's again I accept with it. I agree with that. There should not be fear to start an enterprise or startup. If you have fear, you cannot sustain. You cannot grow big. Because when I start a social enterprise like NFED, I don't have a fear. Maybe I'll become jobless because at the time and all in IIT case, I'm just sharing my case since our question is related to my case also. So when I was completing my PhD at the age of 27 from IIT Delhi, I'm talking about 2003 case, 19 years before. We were very young at the time. So 19 years, 20 years before the case was, we are jobless. Actually, they feel that IITians they cannot sustain in one place. That is far more true. I agree with that because they will wanted to have a vertical jump. They cannot go with the horizontal jump. So a lot of people join an organization, they go for a PDF to abroad. And so the vacancies will arise. Even the governmental sector will not take IITians at the time. It was only in last 1 decade, we can talk about a lot of IITs are recruiting the local people, or you can say fellow IITians. In the time of 20 years before and all, they always take the person who is already established for 3-4 years PDF, they come as a faculty in IITs, on IICs and IIMs. That was the case. So the question is, I started the NFED. I don't have a fear whether I lose a job or whether I go for the job. Because if I wanted to go for a job right away, I can be a director or a professor or whatever the case. I can take any portfolios because I'm equally good in academics. That side, I am also maintaining that. You have read about my profile. I'm maintaining the H index, height index, all the professor requirements of R&D. I am maintaining it. I can go for any compliance, but I'm not going for any compliance professor. You know, I'm still keeping the integrity. I don't want to go and give my profile for any compliance. But what I'm trying to say is, if I have to start, means I cannot end. I cannot switch over to the NFED, again go for an academic job. I can be a visiting faculty. Anybody can call me as a visiting professor or visiting entrepreneur as a professor there in their academia. But not that I can leave this organization. Again, I go back to the original thing. I served in academia, parallel. The parallel way, I've been growing the NFED. So my suggestion to youngsters, because we also crossed the young ages, right? So when I was 27, means you know that. And from IIT Delhi, when passing out as a PhD holder, I really feel that I don't know how others feel. I really feel I learned nothing. After entering the academia only, I understood that the academia is not learning anything. There are so many people who are been recruited, not at the pace of mine who are working. That's why I could not match in the. I don't want to sustain in the academia because I can be any time I can get into the academia, but I cannot become an entrepreneur. You know. That is very, very important we have to learn because there are so many organizations asking me to become a board of directors and all. Because of the sustenance and the longevity in the even yourself in the evening you told that why don't you take that the first lead of taking the session today. because you told that you have the experience and all those things, but you feel that somewhere, okay, this person can do this. That belief segment is triggered on the expertise what we are having. So if at all I have thought in a second line, that is to become an academician again after starting the NFD for 20 long years, then it's a big thing. That is not correct actually. That's what youngsters make a mistake. They start everything with aggression. I positive aggression I can say. They start, but they have to sustain. That takes 3 long years for a minimum time to sustain a startup to grow big at the next level of growth.
That's
Hope I answered your question.
Shravan, can I add a few things? Beautifully described by
Shailen,
sir.
but I in the shade.
Sure.
Yes, Professor Ghosh, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So, when you have these kind of a question, it's a research question also, right? We don't know, nobody knows, we can have a hypothesis. So the best way to do any kind of research is to follow a triangulation method. Now, in a triangulation method, normally we look at startups as a buzz thing. It's a new thing to happen to mankind, but it's not like that. The fundamentals of the nuts and bolts of the business are very, very static, right? Only the way the fund has been, disbursed to people has changed of late through certain PEVC channels. But otherwise, it's a very, a mundane kind of an entity. So 1% kind of a person would make it big. But if you look at traditional businesses, they will tell you that it takes at least 3 years, very much what Ganeshan sir was telling. So at least 3 years. If you go to any of these communities which are known for businesses, traditional communities, Gujaratis, Marwadis in India, you have Sindhis, you have Parsis, they will always tell you that 3 years, don't expect a single paisa, single rupee from any of the business. Find out your other sources of income so that you can sustain. And after 3 years, look at monetizing, right? If you look at academia, any course, because it's a learning curve, any course. If you look at high school, 8th, 9th, 10th, if you look at graduation, abroad it's 4 years in some countries, but in India we have 3 years, right? And if you look at learning anything, it takes a good 2 to 3 years time. You can't learn in 6 months time. It's not possible. It will not do justice to it. And from a third perspective, if you look at banking, the people, conventional bankers, they would ask you, you go for a loan, they will ask you last 3 years bank statement and PNL and all that you submit. So if three agencies, three very, very different agencies or authorities are pointing it out at that 2 to 3 years time, I think that is sacrosanct.
Thanks for supporting, Mr. Professor Ghosh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Shravan, I think I answered your question. Any more questions? I'll be happy to answer.
No, I would like to thank Dr. Ganeshan for his amazing and mesmerizing speech that will be remembered in years to come. And I would also like to request you, Professor, to share your email ID in the chat box. If anyone has queries, they can directly mail me. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Kiran Kumar Thoti, Professor and a senior lecturer at University Malaysia Kelantan, to come and share his thoughts.
Good evening to all the dignitaries and professors and learning colleagues. It is a very good platform, and I was very happy to be here to share my a few opinions, and also I'm thankful for the strategic partners, strategic alliance team to invite me as a part of this activity. I have a few because I don't want to kill the time. So I'll just share 10 minutes of my PPT because I was working as in the University Malaysia Kelantan. The university is mainly designed for entrepreneur because Malaysians has been decided that they want to be one university which is mainly motivate for the entrepreneurs in around 2007. And as part of the funding by the government, they start up this public university as an entrepreneur university. And it is only the first university which is started in Malaysia, where it is booming like a programs mainly designed for entrepreneurship. So about my university, I just have a glance about the University Malaysia Kelantan, and I was working as a PhD holder in 2015 in the same university. And back to the India, and I took a responsibility of the HOD of KL University, Hyderabad. Then I thought to have some more service to extend my knowledge towards the entrepreneur activities and also entrepreneur skills. This is a small, like a few tips if you want to choose entrepreneur, what you has to be and why you want to choose, why you has to choose a career as an entrepreneur, and what are the qualities you required. Just glancing the slides of almost 4 to 5, then we can move on to the closest. Because as the time given to me is only 15 minutes as per the scheduled time, I don't want to extend the time more than that. So here, entrepreneurship, as per the point, it is an individual who undertakes the risk associated with creating, organizing, and owning a business. So more than that, we have to cultivate the interest to start our own business, or maybe we own earnings. So it can be anything. It can be anything. You have to start and creating which you can able to passion towards to convert as an earning sources. What are the qualities you have to be? What you have to build in this? Consistency, creative, responsible, flexible. Because when you take any kind of decision, you have to own it. So don't, because as per the student kind of mentality or maturity levels, we always take a decisions by seeking the advisors. And sometimes when I interact with my master degrees students in Hyderabad, I ask why you choose MBA. They said like simple quotes, my father suggested me, and my friends took the MBA, so I choose this one. So some certain decisions, what you choose, maybe you influenced by the other person, but once you decide the decision is yours, you have to own it, and you have to build whatever you feel you choose. You have to be show a creativity, consistency, responsible, flexible, and you have to be coachable. So maybe you can choose engineer, you can choose medicine, you can choose the arts, so whatever, but you have to be committed to that and think about what is the outcome for that. Because any courses has the outcome. Without outcome, there is no. Even sometimes age will train you about what is your path. Sometimes education, because we always ask about the forefathers, they're not educated, but they become the billionaires. How they are? Because their experience, the experience taught them where they want to land. Called as a goal oriented. So they decided where they want to land and where they want to build. Independent, self-confident, risk taker. So if you have these qualities in yourself, so if you have but you not notice it, but you always notice when you are alone, when you are in the critical situations, almost these qualities will come to you front of you and try to guides you that how well you can able to build yourself. Innovations comes accidentally, and also innovations comes by the keep trying a number of times. Extraordinary systems, accidents, watching others, recommendations, and regularity after that advertising inspirations. So all well with this, all the activity, pull up the necessary innovation ideas, because a few innovations happens by the people by looking of their family in the difficult situations. For example, a person who is means you can say forefathers, they're using like a small pump to blow the fire for cooking. So slowly they said like we need to avoid and we need to use the gas. And gas, even with cooking, we have smoke is not going out, so we have exhausted. So every possibility way they try to give some solutions. And before we never know about the mobile can use in multiple applications. So it's like a replacing the laptop, replacing the tabs, replacing of system. So mobile is all in one now. So if you have mobile, you can read, you can chat, you can have a video call, you can participate in the webinars, you can have virtual. So almost A to Z, the applications are inbuilt, because innovation doesn't have any stop. It is keep moving. So at any cases, innovation and creativity, because innovations is very good, but creativity also parallel, because innovations is different creativities. Creativity is how you see and how you observe, how you decided. There is no doubt that creativity is the most important human beings. And like we can say in because of Indian population, we can say like before we have Bajaj Chetak, it is two-seater. And creativity, what happened? It makes one more seat next to that. We can travel it. And many of the in Indian market, we can see like many of the auto drivers are converting their auto drivers as a food trucks. They extend the vehicle size. So they are like creativity resources. They try to use the extend possibility. We have a components. One is we think by the domain area, means which area we are trying to make it out and how well we boost up the personality and where you can land out. And creative process and intensive task motivations. So I'll give an example of which is recently released, the movie called Padman by Akshay Kumar. So he repeats because he never feel about the pads also required, and he just created the multiple struggles and comments. So we have one innovations by the creativity of process. So we never stop because criticize will comes and problems arises, but we never give up. It's called as a risk taker qualities. In looking at the business idea, you decided what, who, and where, and whom, how. So when you say what, which platform, what solutions, and to whom you are experienced, and where do you want to land, and what kind of solutions you're going to get it, and how well you're going to reach, and what are the possibility of your movement to reach your applications. So last slide, because paradox of enterprises. One handly, many has a one a goodwill saying that I can be multitasker and I can do multiple tasks in a single time. And when you start up the any activities, we'll say that our enterprise requires a thought preparations. The main motive is to money and to get the opportunities, and everywhere you can able to get the wealth creation. That is what we always think when you start up the industry, but which is we never aware, and only the experience will get back. Because maybe you can say 10 years back, we always have a marketing of sending the pamphlets to the newspapers in the morning newspapers. It's enclosing in that. And maybe if we say a X person, he's invested almost 10,000 pamphlets, and he circulated entire place in the morning 5 o'clock event, and he include a team, and he sent the papers. And his expectation is 9 o'clock onwards, he'll get n number of calls, but hardly he will receive 1%, sometimes zero also. So we ever, because unexpected, unplanned events, we always lose the money. But losing money is not the problem, but we are experienced what you lose, where you lose. And you thought a number of opportunities, but we have stuck with a few opportunities, which is where to start. Where you start and where it ends, we never know. You start with some process, and the creativity leads to other experience. So what overall experience, what I want to convey here. So enterprise is a process where we decided to committed ourselves to learn and survival and sustain for the growth, which you feel it is a career and enhance our ability to reach the destination. So it can be have a number of hurdles, but never give up the hurdles and move on to the what we expect. This is what I want to convey. As I said, the time is only 15 minutes for me. I don't want to take much time, so if you have any questions, you can ask. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions you can ask? Okay. So we would like to thank Dr. Thoti for his informative and knowledgeable speech and request him to share his mail in the chat box for any queries our attendees might have. We would like to invite Dr. Saptrishi Ghosh, a mentor at IIM Kashipur, to share his views.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Great. It was very difficult to fill up the shoes of Dr. Ganeshan. He has touched upon all the relevant points and very articulate in the way he has put things forward. So, as an academician, there's a perspective, and there's a perspective as a student. So, I was told that we were talking to students, so I would bring about the slides which are student-centric, something to engage the students. But before we delve into those territories, let me discuss a framework. So the framework of, because we also have academicians and we have got all of you who would be dealing with students. So there's a framework, and this framework is a 4-factor framework. Now in this framework, we have a training, we have a trainer, we have funds, and we have students. Now in this particular framework, there's a lot which has been spoken and debated about what is there and what is missing, right? But then today, there's an availability of trainers, be it from academia, be it from industry, be it entrepreneurs themselves. Because definitely the new generation, the current generation, which is into schools and colleges, is not the first league of entrepreneurs that India has seen. So there are enough and more resources available. And especially with online platforms, there's so much that one can achieve. Second is funds. There's always an availability of funds. There are a lot of students, there are a lot of faculties who come and tell me, show me the money, I'll do what you want me to do. So there's always money, there's always an availability. So what people are looking for is show me the results. And unfortunately, people are very myopic. They only look at their own benefits. I've spoken to dime a dozen entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs who scale up, who started. I mentor entrepreneurs, I mentor students. So people come up with ideas, and when they come up with ideas, the biggest challenge with these ideas are it is self-centered. So the idea is not solving anybody's problem. The idea is not adding value to anybody. The idea is just trying to solve their problem. I want a Mercedes for myself. I want a villa for myself in Dubai. I want to go on a vacation to the Bahamas and have a cigar and champagne. That's all fine. These are aftermath effects of being an entrepreneurial venture. But then that cannot be the only reason why you start a venture. So where is the value creation? There's no value creation that possibly investors look for. Because I'm also an investor and I come across various proposals and very good proposals which has been surcharged by personal gains. So when you ask them to give reports, financial reports, you ask them to do deep diving, they haven't done it. There are a lot of people who come up with ideas. An idea, 1969, there was this book on design thinking. Late 70s, early 80s, Stanford started aggressively working on design thinking. And it starts with a very simple ideology, empathy. I don't see this empathy anywhere. I see ideas. Ideas come much later. The third step of design thinking is ideation. So people come up with ideas. Sir, मेरे पास idea है, बहुत बढ़िया है. But वो idea कहाँ से आया? What have you done with that idea? Have you observed? Fundamental is of any social science is psychology and economics. Have you integrated both of them? Have you observed what is happening around you? Have you looked at the economic aspects or the elements which are related to this venture idea? The answer is no. They have an idea and there are people, there are engineers. Thanks to all the engineers, they are very eager to experiment and do things, but then they don't look around. They build something. So I talk to my students and I tell them that if you go to Agra and you want to spend a good night in a beautiful property, would you prefer Taj Mahal, the 7 wonders of this world, or would you prefer a Taj Hotel? The answer is a Taj Hotel, right? Because it's functionally aligned to your goals. Not the Taj Mahal, which is the 7 wonder, because it's beautiful to look at on a moonlit night, but it's very difficult to sleep on a cold marble slab, right? So you need to understand what is the investor looking for. And trust me, today investors do not have much options. Cryptocurrency is very volatile. Stock markets are manipulated big time by big investors. If somebody is willing to pump in 8-10 crore rupees, then stock market is definitely not the place that they want to go there. Real estate gives you hardly 3 to 4% return. Commercial gives you 6 to 7%. So where are they going to put their money? So there's enough and more money available. There's enough and more resources available, but we do not have students. So the biggest challenge today, I believe, is neither with the training methodology, nor with the trainers, nor with the funds, but we do not have students. And that's because of the simple dichotomy that most of the students in India join a school or a college to get placements. Unfortunate, but true. Internationally, not many join for placements. They join to learn or they join to excel. But in India, we think joining is very important. IITs and so much of struggle to join somewhere. Nobody cares what they do after they join. They might be doing something else which nobody cares about. And they know that once I join, hell or high water, I'll be out of this institute because real estate is expensive, right? Nobody wants to keep you back because then they have got new challenges in terms of accommodating you. So once you join, you are out for sure. So there's a hell lot of impact and importance on how to join, but nobody bothers about what to do after you join. When we did our B schools, then people were talking of what do you get? So there were people, counselors who used to come in top-notch B schools. You will get a blazer. Those days that was in vogue. You will get a blazer, you will get a laptop, you will get a foreign exchange program. Give me a break. Did I join a B school to wear a blazer, carry a laptop and go abroad? I can do it for a fraction of that cost, right? But that is what triggers the reaction. Parents and students are very exuberant by hearing this. That yes, you join a B school because you get a laptop, blazer, and you go abroad. Right? So somewhere we need to change all of this. So let me go to it. I believe all of us. Present now. Okay. Sure. Is my screen visible? Yes, no. It is. Is it visible now? I can't see any of you, so you need to voice out yes or no.
No, not it.
Okay. Oh. Let me try again. Is it deactivated by any chance? Because I see share your entire screen option, and then if I put share, I'm unable to activate the share.
You need to select your percentage of portion of the screen you want to exactly share.
No, I know that, but okay. Let me try through the tab. Again, here the PDF is not visible. It's going through the window. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we are talking to students. So I have used a bit of Bollywood because that's what excites them, right? So unveiling students' entrepreneurship. Fata poster Nikla hero. So is this hero? The hero, the heroine here is the student themselves, right? Because they have toiled hard to reach where they have reached. So what got you here may not get you there. चीते की चाल बाज की नजर और बाजीराव की तलवार पर संदेह नहीं करते. So students are busy to convince everybody, educators, parents, society, that we have it in us. Excellent. We all know that you have it in you. But then, unfortunately, what you have done in the past may not take you to the future, because future is uncertain. We are living in a world which is called a VUCA world. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So when we are looking at a VUCA world, we need to redo things a little differently. There was a full book of Shiv Khera, which I read when I was in college, which says that winners don't do different things, they do things differently. So it's the difference that would make you convert a venture to success, convert your idea to implementation, and convert your mundane life to something interesting and fun. Unfortunately, you can't drive a vehicle looking at the rear view mirror. You can try it, be it your bike or car or whatever. You can't drive it looking at your rear view mirror. So what has transpired for your earlier generations, be it your professors, be it your parents, be it whosoever, maybe your seniors by a couple of years, doesn't matter, because you can't drive by looking at the rear view mirror. You have to look towards your windscreen or towards the front. So what has got you here or what has got anybody there will not ensure that you will reach there. So your past achievements, Mr. Narayan Murthy also had said the same lines, and I quote, your past achievements means nothing. So you have to ace it, and you have to ace it again. You have to prove it again. And that is where the challenge is. Now, most students, when they come to college, they think that they have got liberation. Liberation. Zara sa jhoom loo main. But there's a follow-up. Are nare nare na. Right? So the sunny days are there. The sunny days are there. You experience freedom. You are the gateway of adulthood. You have new friends, new beginnings. But as we discussed previously also, those 2-3 years, those 2-3 critical years of your time when you are still trying to rediscover yourself, to understand your potential, because everybody told you that you are good for nothing. Everybody told you you are good for nothing, be it your parents, your neighbor, your neighbor's children, or your professors or teachers. They told you you're good for nothing. They told you follow instructions. They asked you don't ask questions because asking questions is criminal in India. So don't ask questions. Only follow instructions, because that's what the legacy of Britishers are. They point out towards all these objectives. Never ask questions because you will be lost. You are supposed to follow orders. But if you are looking at a VUCA world, you need to be curious. You need to be curious person like a child. So you are born with it. I used to wear a t-shirt which my parents used to hate when I was in college. It used to read a simple line: I was born intelligent, education ruined. I didn't understand the meaning of those words, those times, but I used to flaunt it because it was interesting, because it used to put everybody else in difficult spot. But now I do understand and appreciate the meaning of it. Yes, you are born intelligent. Yes, education ruined you, because by education, you mean a degree, you mean a formal channel, and that is not what true education is. So when you are in a university, when you are in a high school, it's very easy to go astray. It's very easy to try to do multiple things, be it entrepreneurship or be it anything else. But you have to be very, very focused. Bring back your focus. That's what will make it happen. Why you need to bring back your focus? Because it's a crowded market out there. Kitne aadmi the? So India has close to 10,000 plus universities. So for any given program, and I'm not even talking of affiliate colleges, India has 10,000 plus universities. And even if I consider 100 students per curriculum per university, we are talking of numbers in lakhs. We are talking of numbers in lakhs. And we have, and heart and heart, that we don't have. So my question to you is, do we have those kind of openings, opportunities, jobs in the market? What is your differentiator? What is your USP? How are you different from your neighbor's son or daughter? There are millions of job applicants. Markets are slow and skill-based. You have limited time to tide over it. Certificate is a gate pass. You get into a cricket stadium, you need a ticket, right, to get into the stadium. So your certificate is a gate pass to get into that stadium. Your skill is how you appreciate that match. If you are put into a golf arena instead of a cricket, most of you will be clueless because you have never understood how that is played, how that game is played. Though you all aspire to play it after making a billion-dollar company, but you don't know how to play it. So that's the idea, that you need to appreciate. So you need to have the skills to appreciate what is happening in there. And then you have to spot the opportunity. So if the ball comes to you in a cricket stadium, stand up on that bench or chair and catch it so that you grab the limelight. That is how you become the hero of that moment, the man or the woman of that moment. That is very critical. Are we doing that? No, we are average, but we need extraordinary results. How can extraordinary results come when we ourselves say that we are doing very average things? Because when you go out of the school or college in 3 to 4 years' time, the world is going to come back and ask you this simple question: मेरे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, bank balance है, क्या है तुम्हारे पास? क्या है तुम्हारे पास? And you do not have this answer. You do not have this answer. And because you do not have this answer, which is why you are endlessly chasing placements, because you need to prove something to somebody. You need to prove something to somebody, and that somebody is not necessarily your banker or your parents, it's the society at large. It could be your boyfriend, it could be your girlfriend, it could be anybody, right? So you're trying to prove something to somebody, but have you ingrained that knowledge, skill, experience, and achievements in those 3 to 4 years? If the answer is no, then you have wasted your time, money, and effort. If the answer is yes, then you have stayed focused. But then if you are trying to work on your idea by systematically analyzing and building a venture, then you have aced it. Now, a lot of people come back saying that we are aspirational. We discussed about Bahamas and Maldives vacation and villas in UAE and all of that. It's beautiful. Indians, right from Yash Chopra days, Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, SG showed us convertible driving on Switzerland roads in the Alps. So we all love to dream. We all love to dream. There was a serial, what we call a soap opera in Doordarshan way back in late 80s. Mungeri Lal ke Haseen Sapne. If any of you can see it on YouTube, it would be great. So Indians are aspirational, unfortunately. And a lot of people, not only Indians, a lot of people are aspirational. They are not ambitious. There's a thin line of difference between aspirational and being ambitious. So our idea is we'll get married, we'll have house, property, car, we'll have a dog and have a happy life. And all Hollywood movies end with that note that you are happy with a dog and a happy family with your possessions, your prized possessions. But is that happiness? If that is what happiness is all about, then Gautam Adani, who owns 7 lakh crores Indian currency, would not go to work. Mukesh Ambani, who owns 5 lakh plus crores, will not go to work. I personally had the opportunity to report to and work directly with Kumar Mangalam Birla every single day. 10 o'clock, he would be in his office. What is the role of him being in the office when he has so much at his disposal? So if the idea is to make a quick buck and play golf and go escape to the Bahamas, then possibly you are in the wrong trajectory. Entrepreneurship is not for you. That's not what you are trying to build. You are just self-centered. So reduce your expectation. Your expectation can follow in later years. It's because an entrepreneur is a person who lives a part of his life like nobody would, so that he can live or she can live the remaining part of the life like nobody could. And mind these words. So if you are compromising in the initial period, and we discussed about that 2-3 year period, if you are compromising on those 2-3 year period, yes, you might be riding a bicycle. You might be walking down to your office. You might be operating out of a garage. It's good to be lean. It's good to be mean. It's good to be stingy. There's no shame associated with it. The top entrepreneurs came from zero. So it is important that you keep your aspirations high, but at the same time, give them a timeline. So don't follow aspirations from day one. Follow your ambition from day one. And start up your life. Settling down is the biggest myth in life. We all want to settle down. So what is the settling down? Settling down is never something which is what anybody should look for. Life should be stirred up. Life should be stirred up, just like sugar in your drink. It should be stirred up. It should be either shaken or stirred. Don't have it while it is sitting at the base, because you are not going to have the great taste. Ata Maji Satakli, eccentric people. Eccentric people. Look at Narendra Bhai Modi, eccentric person. Look at Virat Kohli, eccentric leader. Look at Ranveer Singh, green shorts, yellow t-shirt, red shoes. Would you do that? Most of us won't. But then you remember them because they are eccentric. Einstein was eccentric. Bill Gates is eccentric in his own way. Elon Musk is definitely eccentric. Jack Ma is eccentric. Look at all the world leaders. They are eccentric. They are eccentric. So don't shy away from being eccentric. Be eccentric. Because if you are eccentric, people will follow you. People will take you into consideration. They will notice you. If you are not, then you are plain Jane. You are vanilla stuff. They will have you for ice cream. So don't be plain Jane vanilla. Always stay curious, experiment and innovate. It's okay to fail. We give a lot of emphasis on success. How many movies, how many cricket matches, how many ventures can be replicated? Very few, very few. Because nobody knows what is the success mantra. Somebody asked Mr. Mukesh Ambani that what will be the fuel price for the next 7 days. He said, if I would know, I would not be sitting here. Right? And that was way back, 20 years back, when I was just into my first job. So these are the things. So you don't have to worry about failure. Failure is good. Failure teaches you that there are different ways by which you can do things. It's absolutely fine. Why should we celebrate success? We should celebrate failure, because 90% of our lives is failure. Best and the successful people, the most successful people, even in their case, more than 90% of their life is failure or mundane. So it's absolutely okay to fail, and it's absolutely okay to celebrate failure. Because that is how we build a robust society, because entrepreneurship is all about robustness. Risk is the notion. More than 5 million people died in COVID. You are surrounded by enemy countries. You are surrounded by enemy countries all the time, irrespective of the geography that you are in. There could be a natural calamity. There could be a road accident. Thousands of people die of road accidents every day. In fact, only in India, close to 1.5 lakh people die of road accidents every day. Are we skeptical? Did we sit back and do nothing during the pandemic? Do we not go out because there could be a road accident waiting for us to happen? Do we stop getting into airlines and railways because that would lead on to an accident? The answer is no. So what is the propensity? What is the propensity of a venture failing? Very negligible, very negligible. Look around. Don't look at reports, because reports, again, has a vested interest. They're either trying to please government or they're trying to please a corporation. They have vested interest, or a geography. So don't look at reports. Look around you. You go to malls, you go to high streets. You had gone through a pandemic. How many shops, outlets, businesses have actually shut down? How many of them are shut down? Not even 1%. Some of you might say not even one. And that's the reality. That's the reality. I'll give you an analogy. Say, for example, you are in a public transport. Say, for example, you are in a bus. You are standing in a bus, or you're sitting in a bus, and you are riding a bike. A bike is a very small vehicle compared to a bus. But when somebody has to apply a sudden brake because there's a pothole in front of you, what is the chance of the person standing or sitting in a bus to fall forward comparatively in comparison with somebody who is riding a bike? So the guy who is riding a bike could be the case of a small venture, could be the startup entrepreneur, but then he or she spots that problem way ahead. And if for 6-7 months they didn't act on it, they are not capable enough to run that venture. Let's put it that way. That's simple. They're not capable enough or wise enough to be entrepreneurs or called entrepreneurs. They do not have entrepreneurial ability because they have not taken any action for the last 6-7 years. It doesn't happen overnight. But if you're working, say, for example, even in a Fortune 500 company, you are being given beautiful, rosy stories and pictures. Suddenly, one fine day, your company will come and hand you over a pink slip because your performance would depend on your performance, your team's performance, your company's performance, and the external macroeconomic factors that play havoc on that business. So they would not give you any dime of reason. They will just come back and tell you that, hey, you know what, don't come back from tomorrow. And this is your 3 months or 1 month paycheck, depending upon whatever is your notice period. And mind you, every job has a notice period. It's there in the appointment letter. We just don't bother about it. That's also a risk. That's also a potential risk. We just don't bother about it. We think if we get a placement and we get into a job, our life is settled. It's not settled. The nuts and bolts of the economy, the business, how businesses are run, how it is in collaboration to each other, everything remains constant. So it's always better that you drive or ride that bicycle or bike or ride that car at the helm of affairs, being an entrepreneur, rather than being at somebody else's mercy without knowing what is happening on the street and being a bystander or being a part of that ecosystem, wherein if somebody applies sudden brake, then you are thrown in a bad situation. Walk the talk, do something. अम्मी जान कहती थी कि कोई धंधा छोटा या बड़ा नहीं होता, धंधा धंधा होता है. Start small. When I came to Hyderabad, I was working in the corporate sector in Mumbai, and then I had my development center. I started an edutech company, and I moved to Hyderabad. When I moved to Hyderabad the first day, so when somebody comes into a new city, most of their materials are packed with packers and movers. So there was a house full with carton boxes. So the first thing that you need is, because you're technically living out of the suitcase, so the first thing you need is a thobi or a press wall. So I dial up the security who is at the gate and tell that you can suggest me somebody. Then he says that, there's somebody in the apartment itself. And in 5 minutes time, there was this guy who was standing in front of me with a pair of Nike shoes, sneakers, denim, and a crisp t-shirt. He was talking to me in English. I was surprised. I said that I don't have a place for you inside because it's all unkempt. But then I'm very surprised and happy to see you come for taking clothes, because I thought a dhobi would come in a phata dhoti or something like that. So it's a, sweet surprise. So what's your background? I mean, how long have you been doing? So I was amply surprised to understand that he's a BITS Pilani pass out. He's a BITS Pilani pass out, and he has decided to opt out of his placements and get into this business of hobby. Right? How many of you would do that? How many of you would do that? A BITS Pilani pass out, techie, doing laundry work. How many of you will do that? 3 years fast forward. I'm not getting into the dynamics of how he made money and what has to be done. You can get in touch with me if you need those numbers. I'll be more than happy to share it with you, which I got from him. 3 years forward, way forward, he came back saying that, sir, I'm leaving this premises and I'm going off to US to study my master's in MIT. I said, wow, congratulations. So what happened to your business? And who is funding you? He said, I'm self-funding because I got a scholarship from UNCTAD, which is an arm of United Nations. I got a scholarship from UNCTAD, and also I got some seed fund of $2 million US. And I have sold my company. I'm holding a very small, minuscule amount of shares, and I've sold my company in India. So I'll be more into strategic inputs now, not the operational aspects. And 2 million. So a dhobi from a BITS Pilani coming and trying to take up a dhobi job, a laundry wala job, building it to a $2 million company, hiving off his shares, stakes, getting into an MIT because he had that entrepreneurial streak. It's very difficult to get into an MIT, right? And a fully funded scholarship from UNCTAD, United Nations, very prestigious again. Very prestigious again. So nobody is expecting you to earn any money when you are studying these bachelor's or master's or when you're in school. Nobody is expecting you to earn any money. But if you start working on your ideas systematically, build your venture, then sky is the limit. So then you can say Tata, bye-bye to your chinta. So don't think of chinta. Don't think what will happen. Act. It's very important to act, which is why I said that think, act, and grow. You should act to grow. Just thinking will not take you anywhere. So join your e-clubs to understand what is happening, incubate, and go to market with your venture. Getting customers is the biggest deal. Then only you will get that prem ratan dhan payo. You will get the love and blessings of your customers. You will get the money. You will get the recognition, right? So 10%, unfortunately, we have very little time, but 10% of the world population has access to 90% of the world's wealth, and 90% of the world's population has access to 10% of the world's wealth. So which side do you want to be? That 10% with 90% or 90% with the 10%? Choice is yours. Create a legacy. If you are doing a job, you can't create a legacy. You can't pass it on to the next generation. So create a legacy, pass an heirloom. It's very critical that you do that. And yes, your parents restrict you. They ask you to sit for placements because they are concerned. They are truly concerned about you. But if you have proved your mettle, if you have proved yourself, your abilities while you are studying, and you had the ambition, courage, and endeavor to prove it, then your parents are going to come back and tell you, Ja Simran, Ja Jile apni zindagi. And entrepreneurs today are celebrated. We all have seen Shark Tank. We all have seen the international versions of Dragon's Den. They are celebrated all over the world. So money, fame, and power will come to you. And yes, Chalti hai kya naut se vara? Are you ready for the grind? So this naut se vara is not a theater. It's not a movie. You have to slog your butt off from 9 in the morning till 12 midnight. I quote the words of late President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. A dream is not something which will make you sleep. A dream is something which will keep you awake. So build your passion, build your project, do your internship in your own project, build a venture, go to market, prove loyal customers to stakeholders, and there are enough and more investors waiting in a queue to put money for your venture. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Thank you, Professor Ghosh. Thank you, Professor Ghosh, for highlighting me, and it's a stunning presentation. We should clap for you for the wonderful presentation you made. And you know how to dash the youngsters with keeping the slide on all the cinematic heroes. And I appreciate that. That was one of the innovation you had adopted in your slide. Thank you so much.
Thank you for engaging presentations. Now, I would like to thank the doctor for his amazing and presentation. Further, I would like to request him to share his email ID in the chat for any queries our attendees might have.
Sure, I'll do that.
Now we would like to thank all our guests on the panels for making this conference such a warm event with their view and insights. We would also like to thank all the attendees for patiently hearing us throughout the conference. We shall return tomorrow with the second session of Conference 1.4. Until then, stay tuned and keep dreaming. Thank you.